And now we have time called and our umpires are getting together. I don't know what the problem is here. Brandon Schmidt, our field umpire, is trying to communicate with somebody over the radio, which is connected to us up here in the press box. Now Eric Taylor's going to go talk with Brandon Schmidt.
With the base?
Something out at second base, I guess.
Oh man, so the base incident. Oh boy, that's a day that I'm never ever gonna forget, when second base broke.
So bases loaded here in the top of the first inning. Still no outs recorded in tonight's game. I guess maybe second base was a little loose.
Well, for lack of a better term, second base broke. It came out of the ground, anchor snapped, concrete failed. And next thing you know, second base is out of the ground.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I knew what happened. Usually some of these bases can, just from putting them in and out so much, the clay wearing out the post. And
we were up at the front gate. It was me and Tori Goodman. We're just kind of up there monitoring, make sure everything was going all right. Then all of a sudden, we kind of hear a lull in the fans, and we kind of look down on the field and see, I think it was Cortland Lawson over there kicking second base, and it was kind of moving a little bit. And obviously, Eric and the grounds crew ran out there to kind of investigate what was going on.
Now, Eric Taylor is going to hustle on down the left field line.
Making them wiggle a little bit. You know, some base anchors we have a little bit more tape on than others, and maybe it's just a mismatched base. Once I pulled it back out, the entire sleeve that was in concrete came out with it, and that's when I notified the umpire if this wasn't going to be a simple fix, that we would have to throw the Hail Mary at this thing.
He brings a different second base back to second base, puts it in where the anchor would be, and it looks like second base is a fidget spinner. It's spinning around.
You know, these base anchors, they're in concrete. It's a slab of concrete, a foot wide by foot long and like 9 inches deep. And for that, you know, for that chunk of concrete to give way and break is a pretty rare situation.
Huge credit, obviously, one to MLB to walk through us that, you know, this is what's happening. Huge credit for the coaches being understanding. But honestly, the hero of the day was Art Silver himself.
So the camera was on its way to us, and then it got redirected back to the field because Art is about to address the crowd, I'm told.
Just want you to understand what's happening. There's a player safety issue here. And in the 33 years we've owned the ball club, that's something we've never compromised, even though it's clearly something that's not our fault. I want to take you out and show you exactly what's happening, what the problem is, and what we're trying to deal with. Nobody needs to understand this more than you do. So excuse me for being so old and walking so slowly. You are great. Some of you know I'm 82 and I had back surgery a couple of months ago and I had to use that wheelchair, and I'm walking now. And it feels great. I can walk around my ballpark. All right, right over here is where second base is, if you can take a shot of this over here. And the stem of the base, which is larger this, by the way, goes in here. Yeah, come over here and show actually that.
So credit to Eric, credit to Elliot. They worked throughout the night. Thankfully, we already had a extra base, a spare base anchor. So they took legitimate, I have a video, they took a pickaxe to it.
I've been working on the railroad all day long.
Our thought process was get the old anchor out and just kind of investigate what caused the issue.
They took all the remnants because the concrete slab that was underneath completely shattered.
So going into that night to dig it up was, you know, the options was to put that anchor in. Can we fix the anchor that's in there for long term? And long term would be in like 25 games. Would we have to pour new concrete? Could we just use the old one? Could we do this? Could we do that? Like, what is it? And you don't really know until you dig it up. And digging it up sometimes can be Pandora's box. The digging is not just go in there and dig and dig and dig. It's very fine, detailed digging. You don't want to disturb as much of that clay as you can, because now we're going to create problems outside the bag. And that's a high traffic area. Guys are sliding in, double plays. There's a lot of footwork that's around there, so there's a lot more to it than let's just dig it up, put a new anchor in there, and we're good. I mean, there's a lot of math involved. It's got to be, the base has got to be right.
We kind of had to start game planning how we would get the anchor and the concrete back into the ground, whether it was pouring a new, basically a new block with the anchor into it, or luckily we had an old anchor that had come out of the ground previously when we did some renovations here. So thankfully we had an extra one, and that really saved us. Instead of having to pour all new concrete and a new anchor and all that, it really saved us.
We had one of the weirdest and unlikely situations that you'll ever see in baseball last night here at Virginia Credit Union Stadium, in which the base of second base was loosey-goosey out there on the infield. It has been repaired overnight in a game that was in the top of the first inning with the bases loaded and nobody out for the Down East Wood Ducks. Will resume here at 4:35 p.m. on this Friday afternoon. The 1-0 pitch. Thomas swings and hits a little tiny swinging bunt in front of home plate, but Mitchell throws high and away from the first baseman Ortiz. Tuda gets a good turn, stops at second. And E2 extends the inning for the Fred Nats, gives Cortland Lawson a chance to cut into this lead.
The first guy sliding into it or rounding the bag, I had no stress over it. I mean, I kicked it probably 30, 40 times before I even allowed Jake to come out here, or even before we went home that night. We're going to test it ourselves before we let our manager, coaches, and our players get on it, and goes for the other players as well. We're not there to put them in harm's way either.
It's significantly more stable than it was ever before. And we played the game on it. We played a doubleheader on Friday. We played, Saturday, Sunday. We had no problems. We've obviously had a whole homestand since. It looks like we never took a pickaxe to it. It doesn't look like we had a massive hole at second base, right before the game. So being prepared, always be prepared for the weird situations that pop up. And they were ready, absolutely. So